The forest of redwood, deep in the heart of America, was known for its towering trees and untouched wilderness. Tourists often came to explore its trails, hoping to spot rare birds, deer, and maybe even a bear in the distance. Among the group of visitors one spring morning was Lily, a gentle and observant woman in her late 20s, with a heart full of compassion and curiosity. While others took photos or chatted excitedly, Lily quietly wandered away from the main trail, drawn by a strange sound. As she walked through the thick underbrush, her eyes caught a glimpse of movement beneath a fallen log. Approaching cautiously, she discovered a tiny creature curled up, shivering and breathing weakly. At first, it looked like a wild kitten, its fur spotted and sleek, and its eyes closed in exhaustion. But there was something different about it. Its legs were longer, and its tail twitched like it belonged to something wild and untamed. Lily's heart melted at the sight. The creature looked so helpless, as if it had been abandoned or injured. She gently reached out, and to her surprise, it didn't hiss or run. Instead, it let out a soft, pitiful cry. The forest around them was silent, and there was no sign of its mother or any other animal nearby. She knew then that if she left it behind, it wouldn't survive. Her guide, upon hearing what she'd found, warned her that taking wildlife was against the rules and potentially dangerous. But Lily couldn't walk away. She felt a strange connection to the cub, as if fate had brought them together. Wrapping it in her scarf, she made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. As the tour ended and others returned with souvenirs and photos, Lily carried the weak cub close to her chest, determined to care for it. She didn't know what kind of animal it truly was, or what future lay ahead. But one thing was certain: she wouldn't let it die alone in the forest. This single act of compassion would soon become the beginning of an extraordinary and heart-touching journey, one that would later move thousands across the world. Back at her cozy cabin in Oregon, nestled among quiet hills and maple trees, Lily cradled the tiny creature in her arms like a newborn. The cub was so fragile, its ribs visible under its short fur, and its breathing shallow but steady. She prepared a warm bed with old blankets by the fireplace and fed it warm milk through a dropper. It barely had the strength to move, but whenever Lily spoke to it in her gentle voice, it opened its eyes just a little, as if comforted by her presence. She named the cub Leo, inspired by its feline features. At first, Leo looked like a large kitten, though she couldn't identify the species. He had small spots across his body and slender legs that didn't seem to match a domestic cat. Still, Lily believed love and care were more important than definitions. She wasn't concerned whether he was a wild animal or not. What mattered was that he needed her. Days turned into weeks. Leo began to gain strength, playing with strings, nibbling at toys, and curling up next to Lily every night. She took him to a local vet who was puzzled. "This isn't a cat," he said slowly. "But I can't say what exactly he is yet. He's still too young." Lily didn't press for answers. She believed Leo had chosen her, just as much as she had chosen him. As Leo grew, his loyalty and affection deepened. He followed her everywhere, through the garden, into the kitchen, even sitting by her feet when she read by the window. It was as though he knew she had saved his life, and in return, he made her his whole world. Lily began researching wild animal care secretly, just to prepare herself. Though she told no one, she was aware that eventually questions might arise. But in her heart, Leo was no threat. He never growled, never scratched in anger. He was family. That choice, driven by pure compassion, began to transform Lily's life in ways she never imagined. What started as an act of mercy during a forest walk had blossomed into an inseparable bond. While others might have left the creature to die, Lily gave him a second chance, and unknowingly gave herself a purpose she didn't know she was missing. As the months passed, Leo transformed from a fragile cub into a strong, graceful animal. Lily was amazed by how fast he grew. His limbs elongated, his muscles developed, and his energy became boundless. He would leap from the porch railing to the garden fence in a single bound. His eyes, once dull from weakness, now glowed with a golden fire that hinted at something untamed deep inside him. Yet, despite all these signs, Leo remained as gentle and affectionate as ever with Lily. He would curl up beside her when she sat by the fire, rest his head on her lap as she read, and lick her face with a rough tongue in moments of pure trust. He had never shown aggression toward her or anyone else. Children from the neighborhood would peek through the fence, amazed by the big cat in Lily's garden. Some thought he was a rare exotic pet, maybe a hybrid breed of some kind. Lily always smiled, never offering more than a gentle, "He's family." Despite his size, Leo moved with incredible grace and silence. His behavior confused even a few animal experts Lily contacted anonymously online. She didn't want any authorities involved. She only wanted to ensure Leo was healthy and well cared for. Most believed he was some kind of large feline, perhaps from an endangered breed, but none could give her a clear answer. All she knew was that Leo belonged with her, and he acted like her protector and child rolled into one. Still, sometimes she noticed things that reminded her Leo was different. On full moon nights, he would sit for hours near the back door, staring at the dark woods as if something was calling him. He never attempted to escape, but she could sense the longing in his eyes. She began to wonder what kind of creature he truly was, and whether his future was really meant to be spent inside a home with her. But even as doubts crept in, their bond only deepened. Leo would purr softly whenever Lily stroked his back and followed her faithfully around the house. Whatever his origin, he had become the soul of Lily's quiet life, a strange pet to the world, but to her, a blessing, a companion, and the truest friend she had ever known. Leo was now nearly 3 years old, and he had outgrown every pet space in Lily's home. He wasn't just big, he was powerful. His body was built like a runner's, with long legs, a slim but muscular frame, and a tail that acted like a whip in motion. He could jump 6 feet in the air without a sound and sprint across Lily's backyard faster than her eyes could follow. Still, he remained gentle, always responding to her voice, lying by her feet, and licking her hand in affection. One day, while browsing through a wildlife documentary, Lily froze. On the screen was a cheetah cub from the African plains. It looked nearly identical to Leo as a baby. Her heart skipped a beat. She rewound the footage and played it again, comparing it to the photos she had taken of Leo when she found him. The spots, the face shape, the body structure, it was all the same. Panicked and curious, Lily began doing deep research. She contacted zoologists online, sent pictures under a fake name, and even showed a wildlife vet anonymously. The answer she received shocked her to the core. Leo was a cheetah, a real one, a wild predator born to run in open grasslands, not live in suburban gardens. At first, she couldn't believe it. How could Leo, her sweet and loyal companion, be the same creature known for hunting prey at lightning speed? He had never shown any sign of aggression or wildness toward her. But the truth was undeniable. His species was wild, even if his heart had never been forbidden. Lily sat in silence that evening, Leo's head resting on her lap. She gently stroked his fur, her mind flooded with questions. Had she done the right thing by raising him? Was it wrong to keep him in a world he didn't belong to? But as she looked into Leo's golden eyes, full of love and trust, she knew one thing. What they shared was real. It wasn't just a bond of survival, it was family. Still, the realization lingered. Leo was meant for the wild. The very instincts she had kept at bay with love were slowly rising within him. And deep inside, she began to understand that a choice would have to be made, one that might break both their hearts. As more time passed, Lily could no longer ignore the signs. Leo had become restless. Though he never caused harm, he began to pace by the windows more often, his golden eyes fixed on the trees beyond the fence. On quiet nights, he would let out long, low growls that echoed through the house. Sounds of zonging, not aggression. Lily could sense it clearly now. The call of the wild was growing louder in Leo's heart. He had never acted out or tried to escape, but something in his spirit had changed. He had grown too large for the cozy home and too fast for the backyard. He needed space, freedom, and perhaps even companions of his own kind. Lily's heart broke a little more each day as she watched him, her beloved Leo, staring into the distance like a caged soul. She tried to dismiss it at first. She told herself that love was enough, that her care, her presence, her voice could keep him happy. But true love, she realized, isn't about keeping someone with you. It's about doing what's best for them, even if it tears you apart. And so, after long nights of tears and prayer, she made the hardest decision of her life. She would return Leo to the forest. It wasn't just about letting him go. It was about giving him the life he was meant to live. She contacted a trusted wildlife sanctuary near the same forest where she had found him. They assured her that Leo would be free to roam but still protected. He wouldn't be forced into a zoo or cage. He would live as nature intended, but safely. On the day of departure, she packed Leo's favorite blanket, the one he used to curl up in as a cub. She placed it gently in the back of her van and called for him. Leo jumped in, unaware of what was coming. The ride was silent. Lily couldn't speak. Her throat was too tight with sorrow. As the trees of Redwood Forest came into view, Lily felt her chest tighten. She parked by the sanctuary entrance, stepped out, and opened the van door. Leo hesitated, then stepped out beside her. The handlers gave her space, sensing the depth of their bond. It was now time to say goodbye to the one soul who had changed her life forever. The clearing near the forest edge was quiet, the air heavy with emotion. Lily stood beside Leo, her hand gently resting on his back, as if trying to imprint her love onto him one last time. The sanctuary workers remained at a respectful distance, allowing the two to share their final moments in peace. News of the release had spread in the nearby town, and soon, a crowd had gathered behind the fence to witness the unusual farewell between a woman and the wild animal she raised like her own child. Lily knelt down beside Leo and looked into his golden eyes. "It's time," she whispered, her voice trembling. Leo blinked slowly, as if understanding that something was different. She hugged him tightly, burying her face into his fur, trying to memorize his scent, his warmth, the feel of his heartbeat against her chest. Her tears soaked into his coat, but he didn't move. He stayed still, calm, gentle, as if comforting her. When she finally stood, the sanctuary gates opened toward the deeper forest. A soft breeze rustled the leaves, and a beam of sunlight lit the path ahead. Leo looked toward the trees, then back at Lily. He stepped forward, paused, and turned around once more, their eyes locked in a silent conversation, one that said everything words could not. Then, without a sound, he began to walk away. Each step felt like 1,000 cuts to Lily's heart, but she stood still, forcing herself not to call him back. The crowd watched in awe as the elegant creature disappeared into the forest, his spotted coat blending with the dappled light of the trees. Just before he vanished, Leo stopped one last time at the edge of the woods. He turned around and stared at Lily. For a few precious seconds, everything fell silent. No wind, no murmurs, just the gaze of a wild soul saying goodbye to the woman who gave him life. Then, with a quiet leap, he disappeared into the wild. Lily fell to her knees, her heart both shattered and full. The crowd behind her wiped tears from their eyes. In that moment, they didn't see a woman releasing an animal. They saw a mother setting her child free. It was not just a farewell. It was a legacy of love, of sacrifice, of something rare and unforgettable. After Leo's release, life at Lily's home felt empty. The once lively sounds of padded paws across wooden floors, the low rumble of Leo's purrs at night. and the silent companionship during rainy afternoons, all were gone. The house was still the same, but it no longer felt alive. Each corner reminded her of him. The blanket he used to sleep on, the scratch marks on the garden fence, the paw prints she never had the heart to wash away from the patio floor. She tried to resume normal life. She returned to her work as a freelance illustrator, drawing forest creatures and landscapes. But even her art reflected her sorrow. Every canvas seemed to capture a shadow of Leo. Her neighbors were kind and supportive. Some brought her flowers. Others simply sat beside her in silence, understanding the depth of her grief. Years rolled by. Lily aged gracefully, her hair now streaked with silver, her steps slower, but her eyes still held the same warmth. She often walked near the forest where she had once said goodbye to Leo. She'd sit on a wooden bench by the sanctuary's outer trail, staring into the trees with a distant hope. She wondered, did he remember her? Was he still alive? Did he find companions of his own kind? The sanctuary occasionally sent her updates. They had seen a lone cheetah sometimes wandering near the borders, never too close, but never fully gone. They believed it was Leo. He had not joined other cheetahs, but seemed to prefer a quiet, solitary life. Perhaps waiting, perhaps remembering. It brought Lily peace to know he was still near, living in freedom, but not entirely disconnected from her world. She kept his blanket folded on her bed, and every night, before she slept, she'd touch it gently, whispering, "Good night, Leo." Some nights she dreamed of him, running freely, his eyes bright, his body strong, and always looking back at her with love. The world moved on. The story of the woman and her cheetah became a local legend. Some thought it was just a tale, but those who had seen the final goodbye knew it was real. And Lily, she waited, not with sadness, but with a quiet, enduring hope that one day their paths might cross again, even if just for a moment. One crisp autumn morning, many years after Leo had returned to the wild, Lily awoke with a strange feeling in her chest. Something was different. The sun filtered through her curtains as always. Birds chirped softly outside, but her heart beat faster, as if anticipating something long awaited. She took her usual walk to the forest's edge, now older and slower, with a wooden cane in hand, but the same sparkle of love in her eyes. As she reached her favorite bench by the sanctuary trail, she sat down with a deep breath, closing her eyes. Memories flooded her mind. Leo's playful leaps, his soft growl of affection, the warmth of his presence. A tear rolled down her cheek, and she whispered aloud, "I miss you, my Leo." Leo. Lily, now elderly and wise, often reflected on her journey. She had opened her heart to a creature who was never meant to be tamed, and in return, she had received a friendship that changed her life forever. Leo's return had filled her with hope and a deep sense of peace, a sign that love never truly says goodbye. The sanctuary established a special area in the forest in Leo's honor, a protected zone where cheetahs could live safely and free. Visitors to the sanctuary would hear the story of the woman who raised a wild cheetah, the sacrifices she made, and the unforgettable reunion that touched so many hearts. It became a beacon of awareness about the importance of wildlife conservation and coexistence. Lily continued to share her story through talks, writings, and art, encouraging others to respect and cherish the natural world. She emphasized that true love sometimes means letting go, trusting that those we care for will find their way, but never forgetting the moments shared. On quiet evenings, she would sit by her window, gazing toward the forest where Leo roamed free. She felt a connection that distance and time could never break. Sometimes, in the gentle rustle of the leaves or the distant call of a wild animal, she believed she could hear Leo's presence, reminding her that their bond was eternal. Though Lily's journey with Leo began with a chance encounter in a forest clearing, it ended as a profound lesson in kindness, patience, and the courage to do what is right, even when it hurts. Their story teaches us that love is not possession, but freedom, not captivity, but trust. In the hearts of all who knew it, the tale of the woman and the cheetah lives on, a living legacy that continues to inspire generations to come. The heartfelt lesson from The Jungle Bond. This story is a beautiful reminder that true love is never about possession or control. Lily's journey with Leo teaches us that love means sacrifice, patience, and above all, freedom. Sometimes the deepest love asks us to let go, not because we want to, but because it's what's best for the one we care about. Lily loved Leo like a daughter, yet she understood that his heart belonged to the wild, to the forest where he was born to roam free. Her courage to set him free, despite her own pain, shows us the power of unconditional love, the kind that doesn't bind but liberates. And even when years passed and distance stretched between them, their bond remained unbroken. Love transcends time, place, and even species. It lives in memories, in silent moments, and in the hope of reunion. This story touches the soul because it reflects something universal: the longing to love without holding on too tight, to trust even when it hurts, and to believe in the magic of connection beyond words. If this story moved your heart, please subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more inspiring and emotional stories like this to life. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a tale that touches the soul. Thank you for being part of this journey of love and hope.